Yeah, you made it lock in. Court lights flicker, I'm feeling that tip-off fever. NBA dreams spin tight like a crossover sleeper. Fourth and inches in the cold, crowd breathing like smoke. NFL grit in my voice when the pressure get woke. Engine scream through the night, that F1 razor. Lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace gets wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, call the game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show, this is where the truth runs. The Not Bland Show. Fast, race, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch the moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with a champion's glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Bland Show.
Lock in.
You made it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get locked into the Not Bland Show, as this is your IHRA special, as we take a look back at some of the big stories in the IHRA. I mean, what a weekend did we have in drag racing, right? The plate overfloweth with drag racing, and that's a good spot to be in. I see that we've got Lonnie in the building. I'm doing good. My man Ford is in the building, and Mac 1320 is also here as well. I appreciate it. I rock out to my own theme song too. Want to thank everybody who supports this show. Everything Nitro, Sports Journey, VTR and Sports. Thank you for hosting our work and this podcast, along with others on the Sports Journey Network. Appreciate you guys. Drag Race Reference, where we get all our stats from. And of course, our sponsor, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. If you want to hear the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza top 10, you can go back to yesterday's show and you can check that out. And we'll be posting that on the Not Bland or on Sports Journey here really soon, just that segment. So you'll have the time to enjoy that. After we pay these bills, we'll have IHRA Insider and statistician Dave W. on the show. This should be fun, man. A lot of cool stuff and a lot of cool, stats and things that will be brought up tonight that I think you'll enjoy. And we'll start that right after the break.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Dave, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Glad to see you. Glad to see everybody tonight. And finally recovering back from an epic weekend of drag racing over there.
Bro.
How awesome was that? Hope the show was just as good at home watching it on the stream as it was being there.
Man, it was very well done. The broadcast was great. I watched it from all points. YouTube did the Speed Sport 1 and 2. Yeah, it was a great broadcast. It was really cool. Tommy and the guys do a really good job. And it was cool to hear Alan a few times as well. I'm sure people were happy about that too. But it was a great broadcast, and the racing was great too.
That's right. I meant to ask. So when we're there, I'm in the booth, so I hear Ken and Tommy and our epic pit reporters, the Kristens, doing all the work down at the top end and then down in the pits. When they are on the live stream, do they cut over to the PA sometimes? Do you get to hear Brett Carver, Mike English, Al Tucci, and Alan Reinhardt at times?
When the Outlaw Nitro Series is not running,
yeah,
you get to hear them
Okay.
You get to hear them on the others, not necessarily when the Outlaw Nitro Series is actually running.
Got
Here,
it. Okay.
the guys doing
I
great.
kind of I kind of figured that was the case, that they stream whatever we're doing, but
Yeah, it was.
yeah, started that
Oh, yeah,
way.
started that way. Tell you, man. To start with a class that I thought was just like, I thought it was great that they added them, and to see him come out first race. We had fueled Altered's three-wheeling it down the racetrack. It was very, very entertaining to watch, and Cody Austin obviously gets the win. What a group of cars out there this weekend. They really did put on a show.
They really did. The only downfall is we wish there was more of them.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the only wall banging incidents, at least that I saw, came in that category. Glad that Chuck Lofton was okay. I was absolutely shocked that car came back and ran first round after the hit that it took on Saturday.
Yes.
Same thing with Ryan Hill. I mean, after he did a power wheel stand right out there at about 550 foot right across the finish line, it still goes 346.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still one of the quickest runs in the category, 224 miles an hour on the back tires. Comes down, bounces it off the wall. I saw he posted pictures on his social media. That car is right now on the way to Murph McKinney's chassis shop to get front half. That thing is tweaked over a good couple of inches, and he still came back and ran it the next two rounds. I'm like, man, you are crazier than I am to get back in that thing and do it. But they just kept putting more weight on the front end, took an element of the wing off of it, and made their way to the finals. It was a shame that some of the guys had the breakage that they did.
Yeah.
First round we were short a pair. The short field made it so that it was a bye run for Ryan Hill.
Yeah.
But Mike Smith out there, I did not anticipate seeing that. I don't even recall seeing him on the entry list. He comes out there. So you had all the Smiths drag racing. You had Mike Smith, Megan Smith, John Smith, Paul Smith was there tuning the car. I mean, Rhonda was there doing backup duties. You had the whole family out there. And Mike went some rounds there in the Fuel Ultra class too.
Yeah, he did. Had a pretty cool day. Went to the second round and faced Cody Austin there. Cody with that 370.35 took that one. It was a really, really cool show. I hope that the next one in Virginia will have a few more of those fuel altered cars.
Yeah, and it was just a shame, you felt for, I believe it was Dan Pettinato in the first round, had the Leahy device trip, threw the parachute out, packed it, and then it popped the other one. So he didn't get to make a run. And then both Brian Cunningham and Paul Miller had just such extensive breakage and no parts available to get it put back together. So that was an entire round one matchup that just never even came to fruition. We were like, after Ryan bounced it off the wall and they're out there scraping and dragging the track, we're like, well, that's weird that they do that in the middle of a session. But there were no other cars back there. They didn't get to make it back. So the attrition rate in that category was pretty high. And especially, and I swear, the camera footage that they had is amazing. If you watch Chuck's incident on Friday, when that line comes off and it just, instantly just covered. Oil was
wow. I was like,
everywhere.
That sucked. That sucked.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you even imagine being in that thing and all of a sudden, like, not only you can't see, but, and I'm sure it wasn't like it was cool. I mean, there had to be some hot oil coming through there and blasting them.
Heck yeah. I was like, man, that's about the worst I've seen. And to be like soaked with that stuff, I was like, dang, that.
Yeah.
Good thing you're wearing those suits. That would have burned bad. I thought they did a good job of cleaning that up, though. Considering what happened, they did a really good job of cleanup. It could have been a lot longer than it was.
They did. And shout out to our cameraman, 100-foot track cam man, Darren Dyer, who was out there, and he had the shot. He was showing us later a picture of it, of the far away cam where he was at. that thing hit the wall. The black scrub marks were on the wall right in front of where his camera was at, and he's like,
Wow.
I just ducked. He's got one hand holding the thing up there, and he's ducked down like this behind the wall so he can still get the shot. And I'm like, man, you're just as brave as the guy in the car, because I'd have been running long for that, and he still got the shot.
That kind of reminds me of who was it that made a complete right turn? I think it was in the one of the Midwest races. Funny car hits the wall there, and he was going to get his shot. He did not move. He was getting his shot. Yeah, that was good stuff. Good stuff. What was your thoughts on what Alan Reinhardt called factory pro stock?
Well, I thought that was great. He actually got that from our Ken Stout. Ken was in. We were talking about what we were going to call that category, and because it was factory stock last year, and Ken coined the phrase. He goes, you know what, I'm going to call it factory pro stock when they come up. And Alan was over there in the booth with us when we were talking about it, and apparently he must have ran with it if that's what he was calling it over on the PA side of things. But yeah, Ken was like, that's a good, because we got Mountain Motor Pro stock, and we'll just call it factory pro stock, because
and it is literally factory pro stock
in general. I mean, you got 500-inch pro stock, you got factory pro stock, and you got Mountain Motor Pro stock. And I think it's a good way to kind of separate the categories when you look at it that way. So shout out to Ken Stout for coining that phrase, and for Alan for carrying on with it on the track PA side. Yeah,
I thought it was really good racing to kind of take you back to what pro stock used to be. And I think it's going to be a class that goes over really well, because I think that when you listen to fans, that's some of the complaint about the new age 500 cubic inch pro stock, that they don't look like factory cars anymore. So yeah, I like the class. Todd Scott was able to get that win in his Camaro. Tony Scott, my bad. Tony Scott got that win, and yeah, it was a great day. And a class that I'm really looking forward and hoping that the car count expands.
You and me both. There was a lot more on the pre-entry list that we didn't get to see. There were some Mopars that were supposed to be there that didn't end up making the trek over, and but some of the names that came out, Carl Tasca coming out, bringing, that was one of the original cars that came out, over a decade ago. Don Justice out there with the Daddy Warbucks car. I mean, that was cool to see them come out and run. Doug Hamp and Tony Scott bringing up the GM brigade up against all the rest of the Fords, and then obviously the Deach family and their potent Cobra Jet Mustangs. It was deja vu for Tony Scott. Basically, repeated what he did here last fall in 2025 to end the season over there when we were in Dunn. Didn't go as quick. I think the low ET this weekend was a 490. He went a 488 last year. So it'll be interesting to see how those performances improve and see what happens and how that class pans out. And I'm with you. I think once we get a couple more GM cars out there, a couple more Mopars out there into the mix, and you got all three makes going after it, and full 16 car fields, they're going to be entertaining. They're going to be really entertaining.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the fans are really going to gravitate to that because of them looking like the factory cars that folks drive on the street. So, Mountain Motor Pro Stock saw some really cool people show up. We had Vincent Nobile back out there in the Mountain Motor Pro Stock car. I was really excited to see him. That's a name that a lot of people know. And I'm hoping that this means that he's going to be a regular. You had Jerry Tucker out there as well. Powers was out there, and I really thought it was Powers' day. He not only had the car, but he had the attitude to go with it this weekend too. And I really thought that it was going to be his day. And Jerry Tucker was like, no.
Yeah, no. I meant to ask Chris, but I'm like, you know what? That's such a devastating loss. I'm not even going to bother him at this moment and see what happened. Is it just like a mechanical failure, or was it just brain fade? Because you go out there and you run that 407, which I believe was second low of first round, and you can't couple that with an 090 light right now. But I mean, shout out to the whole contingent of cars.
Yes.
I don't know if Vincent's coming for the whole deal or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they would. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're out here running. You got the team. You got the car. Stop by, and they were warming the car up when I was there on Thursday, so I didn't get a chance to talk to them too much about their plans. But great to see them out. Shame that Camry wasn't feeling very well.
Yeah.
She was still recovering from a sickness. Didn't feel like it'd be a good idea to get in the car, so they put Buddy Perkinson in it. But it did. They did get that approved before the event, so she is on the points chart. Buddy earned points for Camry, so she's not starting a race behind when we get to Virginia here in a couple of weeks.
Good deal.
Lenny Lottie coming out, switching over, from the he's another one. That's probably why the pro stock class, or the factory pro stock, is a little bit light, because he always campaigned that car. And the Factory X car, the Grumpy's toy car, I'm sure you remember that one.
Yep.
Now he's out there in a Ford Mustang and just crushing it. But yeah, the amount of names that came out. Jason Grima, or Grima from Australia, 2013 Australian Pro Stock champ. Actually, the car that he drove this particular race, he just bought. He was only sat in it the first time 2 weeks ago. Comes out and qualifies the thing and goes rounds. That is the same car that was campaigned by Erica Enders and driven by Randy Lynn Butner, and was the first car to run in the threes in Mountain Motor Pro Stock.
Wow.
That is the car. So
nice.
That car has got some performance in it, and I can't imagine that, he's going to be somebody to contend with. Jordan Ensley coming out, runner-up. I mean, the guy's just a win, waiting for a place to happen when it comes to IHRA. He's a winner in PDRA.
Yeah.
But on the IHRA side, it's coming. And I when it came down to looking at the ladder, I actually said, I was talking with my buddy Real Pro Stock. I said, you got the two purple cars, Powers and Placino. That's going to be your semifinals. So I figured it's going to be Enslin, Nobile, Powers, and Placino battling it out. And then Chris lost first round on a hole shot and totally screwed the team up. And John Placino, man, he comes out there, struggles real bad to first hit, and we're like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. He goes out there and blows the tires off 15-second lap. Well, he definitely answered the call in Q2, solidly in the field, goes on there, low ET 3 out of the 4 rounds. His average race day reaction time was a 0.23. Picked up the win. This guy he's got the target on his back right now. That's the guy right there. So it's going to be awesome. I mean, just the amount of stories that are coming out in this category. It's really going to be interesting to see when we get to Virginia. There are, I believe, about 6 or 7 other teams that are supposed to be there that just simply ran out of time. They don't have their stuff ready for this race because
I thought there were a few missing people.
Yeah, you just can't put that stuff together that quick. Stuff's still at the motor shop. Cars are still getting put together. Stuff's still in the paint shop. So when you start bringing another 10 of them out, I mean, it's going to be – Friday is going to be where it's at in the Mountain Motor Pro Stock class.
Right.
Because you got 2 shots to glory to make this field. And there's going to be some big names that don't make some fields this year, I think.
Yeah. Every car, the whole 16-car field was stout. I think your slowest pass, I think within the rounds – well, it looks like it was Drinkwater with the 415, I believe. Yes, he was the slowest pass, 415.
And I didn't get to hear what happened, why that car fell off as bad as it did, because he came out there and set the ET and mile-an-hour record for 179, number 1 qualifier, which was redemption for him because if you remember last year at his debut, couldn't even get the car staged. It had a fire on the burnout the one time backing up, and then it stalled on the other one, and it wasn't even on the qualifying sheet. Comes out here, number 1.
Yeah.
And number 1 with a bullet. That was impressive. There's so many strong cars. You can't pick a favorite. Every race is going to be a crapshoot, and I think that's what makes this category exciting. In addition to the constant record-setting numbers, everything changing hands. It's going to be really, really good. And Virginia is one of their better tracks. I mean, we're going to Virginia in April. That's when WJ went 688, 200 way back in the day. I mean, the air is there, and the track definitely will be too. So that's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. One of my favorite classes, Mountain Motor Pro Stock, is.
And since you mentioned Chris Powers, I mean, he's way back now at the end of this race. He's 10th in points, and he is 91 behind the leader. So he's he's got a hole to climb out of early in the season. And we say that simply because, unlike the other series, there is no reset here. This race matters just as much as it does when we get to Heartland Park in October and Atlanta in November. They all pay the same. And so we get towards the end of the year, we could be looking back at this one and go, that's where so-and-so lost the championship right there, right at the start.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I love about this. This can be, I think it's going to be, I think it can go either way. And this is going to be his next race is going to be super important. He's going to have to get all the baby points that he can get to keep this thing close, because it can get out of hand real quick.
And when you got 8, you don't have room for error. You don't get too many mulligans. I mean, look at how we look on the end side when we're in the countdown. You get one mulligan in the countdown, maybe. Yeah, and we got 2 more events here, so there is not much room for error.
It really isn't. Looking at these pro mod classes, I know there's been talk about that people feel like they should just combine them together. I do think they both have a load of cars. Great racing over there between pro mod and outlaw pro mod. What's your thoughts on combining them? Because I think this race looks like pro mod was missing 3 spots. And Outlaw Pro Mod was
25 or 26 in Pro Mod, so we were down 6. We run a 32-car field there.
Yep.
Outlaw Pro Mod, so there are certain categories that have a car count quota to meet. Outlaw Pro Mod is typically a 8-car field, but if they get enough cars, just like with Mountain Motor Pro Stock, if you get 13 that show up, they'll expand it to a 16-car show, which is exactly what they did here.
Okay, I like that.
There are certain classes that the nitro categories are locked. From what I've seen, they are locked at 8-car fields, but basically both pro stock classes, Mountain Motor and Factory, and both pro mod classes, Outlaw and Regular, do have, because even in regular pro mod, if you get less than 20 that show up, it's going to drop to a 16-car field.
Yeah.
So it won't always be 32 if you don't have the participation.
Gotcha.
But those are the kind of variables that you just don't know until you get cars in there.
That's true.
For me, I start looking across all the categories, and some of these times I start looking at some of the times that the alcohol funny cars are on, especially Phil Az and some of the alcohol dragsters, and I'm like, we could probably put these guys all in the same class. We could run pro mod versus dragster versus funny car. Like, let's just have one outlaw class at the end of the year. Let's have a specialty race where everybody runs everybody. Because they're close enough, they're within enough hundredths of a second that you can make it happen.
That would be fun.
It would be, right? That's what I think about that. And there's been some times where I think that the regular pro mod cars have outshined the outlaw pro mods at certain times. And then there's times, you go back to last year, a couple 352s, 351s put up on the board there by the outlaw cars. Like I say, when you got Joey Severance and Alcohol Dragster running a 350 flat, and you can get Bubba Stanton out there at a 351.
Yeah.
Tell me you can't run that Alcohol Dragster versus that pro mod.
Yeah,
right?
you can.
Who wouldn't want to see that?
That would be cool.
It would be
that
cool.
would be really cool.
It's just a shame that so the nitrous cars that were out there did end up in the Outlaw Pro Mod category. There are still no rules in regular Pro Mod for nitrous, but because Outlaw Pro Mod allows multiple power adders, that's where they ended up at. Same thing with Chevy Reeves. He had a Pro Charger and nitrous on that beautiful, beautiful Chevelle.
Man, that was nice.
Man, wasn't that a beautiful race car?
That was nice.
He was one of, I believe he said only him and Brandon Pez are the two that are utilizing the 2 power adder option because that is an option in that particular category. It's amazing for the rules package that they have that they don't run a little bit quicker. But it is what it is. They still put on a good show, and there's a fair amount of guys that run both. Randy Weatherford comes to mind. He's in there. He's running both. Frankie Taylor used to run both. Now he's just sticking to his outlaw car. There's some cross category racing right there too. So it's interesting. It's interesting and it's entertaining. Should they be combined together? We say that now, but I think when we get a little bit later in the season and you've got full, you won't think about that as much.
Yeah, I think so too. But I do like them both, and they both have their flair to them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I don't have a problem. Now that I know that they make the adjustments, then okay, that makes sense. To keep both of them separate when you're doing that. So,
Right.
we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the top alcohol field first, and we'll end this thing with top fuel and funny car. I know that's what y'all want to talk about, but we're gonna make you wait. We're gonna make you wait. We'll get into it right after this break. Talking Funny Cars will be back. You can watch all the old ones on the YouTube channel or the Fast channels, but it will be back starting in Indy. So I will get to your question, Blake, closer to the end of the show, but I will get it in. All right. Looking at the field and what I want to look at is top alcohol dragster. You had Rachel Pearl, you had Rich McPhillips, you had Joey Severance, you had Jackie Frick, Jamie Noonan. Like, this thing was stacked.
Oh yeah, you can't, but you can't stop there. You can't. Tom Fox Jr. won the last time that we were here. He was in the field. I mean, Jeff Chatterson's a national event winner. Joseph Gerdelman is, a rookie, just kind of getting out in there and doing it. Daniel Flewelling, same thing. Getting into the ride. He was driving the Bull. And Ryan Harris coming out there. Kelly Kondratic, fresh off her Gators win. She's a contender. I mean, Megan Smith, until it got beat in eliminations, but until we got through that, top speed of the meet, national record, top speed, 230 miles an hour, didn't make the show. Wow. I mean, that's how tough it is. And you got an 8-car field, and it's going to be the best 8. I mean, this is kind of like, I guess you'd almost kind of compare it to NHRA regional racing at sometimes, because those are only 8-car fields too, and sometimes you can get 18, 20 cars to show up for an 8-car field. And it's kind of similar to that. I was shocked to see Joey Severance come all the way out from the West Coast, but apparently, from what I've heard, he's running the full pull. He's in it for the long haul. He's going for the championship over here.
There are a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think there's more coming.
I really do. I think
there's a lot more coming.
This was the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a lot more coming out to the IHRA season. I think people like Jackie Frick, it really just boils down to the treatment. And I know people don't like or want to say that IHRA is behind schedule, but, Lee has said it before, and it's true. He said it on the show on Monday. The NHRA is on schedule because they bump classes. They'll quickly come out there and tell the sportsman, "Hey, man, we'll see you at tomorrow at 9 a.m." Or they'll tell Top Alcohol they're running tomorrow. You know what I mean? To keep the pro classes going. And I personally am not going to scold the IHRA on that, because I think it gives all the classes a level of respect and showing that they matter. And I think that's why you have the people you had to show up in the alcohol class. They're showing that they actually matter. They're part of the show, and their showmanship actually matters to the entirety of the show. And I think,
when we get this run order, and this is what we're going to do, that's what we do.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
The only times that we deviate from that is in eliminations. They did run a little bit out of order because a couple of pro mod cars needed a little more time, so we bumped the snowmobiles up because they were in the lanes, and we bumped somebody else up. They're like, "Well, all 4 of you are here, run them. You guys are here, run them." and they ran them out of order just to get them because they were ahead of schedule, because those guys were already up there and ready to race. But aside from that, on qualifying days, no, they don't. They're not in the habit of sending anybody back to the pits, because really the way that this run order is laid out, all these cars, when we get into qualifying, these are the professional cars. The sportsman cars are done racing. Everybody from stock, super stock, and the rod categories down are done by 11 o'clock on Saturday or Friday. And they know that. They know, all right, us, the top sportsman, top dragster, the last two on the track, national anthem, right in the alcohol funny car.
Yep.
And those guys at least know, all right, look, this is your window. This is your time frame to run these cars, and you're not going to be bumped. You're not going to be just, you might run in between the pro sessions, but if we have to delay you, you might get bumped to later. So we're going to make you sit here all day till 8 o'clock at night and then tell you, yeah, you know what? We're going to run you tomorrow morning. We didn't have time. So they kind of did a good job in separating the field. I know that there are some people's opinions like this one. We should be bumping classes because I saw comments on social media. Well, by the time they run the last round of Nitro, you're already in, it's too late. Nobody's watching. Everybody went to bed. The TV audience isn't there. And it's like, well, that's just the way that it runs. But when those sessions go off and those guys are out there setting track records in big speeds, I'm sorry that you're not there to see it. You know?
Exactly. I stayed up the whole entire time. It's part of it when it comes down to it. Unfortunately, in this game, you're going to have incidents, and sometimes those incidents set you back a little bit. Unfortunately, I think the biggest problem that what set everybody back was the stupid rain. It was
that sucked.
It didn't want to rain, but it was raining but not raining type of deal.
Yeah,
and that's what really sucked.
It wasn't enough to really dampen the track to even really necessitate any drying. It was just kind of spitting. Since they stopped everything and backed the cars up, it gave me opportunity to walk out of the booth and go talk to a couple of the drivers in pro stock and that were waiting in the lanes. And it was infuriating because you'd get a little gust of wind and you'd like feel a drop or two, and then you wouldn't. And then it got almost a little bit heavy there to where it was starting to, you could see the drops on the ground. Yeah. And then it went away because I was like, the car covers came out. The funny cars were in line. I don't know that the dragsters really would have benefited much from running. That part sucked that they didn't get to run the top fuel cars in Q2 to see what was going to go on there. I saw the interview with Jasmine. She said they were loaded up. They were going to try to go to 296, really just lower the boom on the field.
Yeah.
But it got to the point that the track temp got a little too cold. 8-car field, nobody's getting bumped out. And that's why they wanted to make sure they ran the funny cars, because we had 2 more cars than we had spaces to race. And you want to give everybody a fair shot. But I think if the field's full and it's just battling for position, you're not really hurting anything by doing that as much.
No. Look, I get what you're saying, but I'll go to this.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is, and I talked to Ian, the guy who does a lot of the scheduling and all that. We had him on the Power Hour. I talked to him at Gainesville, and his thing was, when you talk about crowds, he said he stood at the gate one time and people were leaving. And he asked, he was like, y'all going out to get a bite to eat and coming back in? And they're like, no, we're leaving for the day. And he's like, he asked them why. These people were not upset. They had a great time. Yeah. This is just the day and age we live in. And I think we have to look at, when we talk about crowds, when we talk about, different parameters, TV matters, streaming matters, and all of it, because everybody consumes it differently. Like, the crowd in the morning is not the same crowd at night. That's why you probably saw a lot of people are hanging out. Some of them are diehards, but a lot of people, if it gets too late, sure, they'll peel out. But there's some people that didn't even show up until 3 o'clock anyway. they're willing to catch the back half. It's just this is the day and time we live in. We're in the 30-second reel,
right. And
era.
It depends. Are you the fair weather fan or the diehard fan? Because believe you me, back when NHRA did not used to bump schedules, they stuck to this, I remember being at work on Friday afternoon, reading the results, hoping for oil downs in alcohol cars or just some kind of delays. Just give me a quick rainstorm.
Right.
Because that gave me time to get out of work at 5 o'clock and drive over to Route 66 Raceway and catch 2 sessions instead of just the nighttime only session. So I was one of those ones where I couldn't be there because I had something else to do. It would have been great to, have those delays and get to see more action than I thought I would.
Right.
But I understand, yes, it sucks when you were there. You don't want to sit through oil downs. The Chuck Lofton oil down and incident, that took over an hour to clean up.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, and there's no way to speed up the show other than shuffling the order and cutting classes. And they're not looking at doing anything like that. And again, if you're somebody who you're like, I'm a diehard Top Fuel fan or a diehard Funny Car fan, when those cars are going to run, and that's when you're going to be there.
Yep.
If Funny Car Q1 Nitro Funny Car is slated for 4 o'clock, you're coming at 4 o'clock because you don't care about the rest of the stuff.
Yep.
If you're a diehard drag racing fan and you want to see it all, you're going to be there all day.
Yep.
If you are somebody who just enjoys the thrill and wants to experience, a couple of warm-ups in the pits, 1 round of nitro, some door car racing, you're going to be there. Like you said that he was interviewing the people at the gate on the way out. They weren't having a bad time. They went, they got their fix. They enjoyed themselves. They saw what they needed to see. Now they're going to go home or go get stop at a restaurant, get some dinner, go home. And if it's still going, watch the rest on TV or come back tomorrow. I mean, everybody has a different agenda that's there. And I never understood the people who make all the comments about, well, ain't nobody in the crowd. Or I posted a couple of videos. I got to walk out of the booth of the Nostalgia Pro Stocks. I went down on the line.
That was pretty cool.
Some of the comments were, oh, man, it looks like the crowd's a little bit better than last year. Or posted a video of Dale Creasy Jr.'s final round run. Where's all the crowd? Where's all the crowd? I don't go to the race to watch the fans.
Right.
Where's the crowd? I don't know. That's not my concern. My concern is the on-track product. The people come and go. They're going to do what they're going to do. But if you are watching to see who's in the stands and who isn't, you're there for the wrong reason.
Yeah. And I get it, but you know what? NHRA gets behind. They blink and they're behind.
Yes.
This happens. It happens regular in NHRA. It happened in Gainesville. There was no reason to get behind, but we were behind.
Right. It happens.
It's one of those things that just seems to happen. And whether they're holding up for someone, whatever the case may be, it's just part of it.
Well, I guess Drag Race Mayhem's somebody that's never been late to anything. He said, I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock, and he's been there at 6 o'clock every time. Don't ever be late, because apparently that's you better be on time or early.
That's right. My uncle was like that, though. Like, we stayed at the track in the motorhome, and he would come out, go over, might catch a couple warm-ups, catch the nitro classes. He'd be like, all right, you guys can roam the pits or whatever. Come back when you want. I'm going back to the motorhome until next round of nitro comes out. That's just him. He wanted to see the nitro cars. That was about it. Sometimes he watched pro stock at times. Yeah. But most of the time he was just wanted to see the nitro cars go down and get his fix and go on back to the motorhome. So, everybody's got their thing. And,
right.
I don't weigh the crowd so much because everything comes in waves at a lot of these things. And like I said, now that you have the ability to, whether it's NHRA TV or the YouTube channel, whatever, people choose how they want to consume. And so I think the whole package has to be taken into consideration when we're talking about viewership more than just people who are at the track. So,
but everybody that was at the track enjoying them alcohol classes, Top Alcohol Dragster was where it's at. And, congrats to the entire field for putting on the show that they did. They just kept getting quicker and quicker. The records kept getting quicker and faster as the race went on. And I don't know, what did you think? It looked like they were pretty competitive, close races to me.
Oh yeah, definitely on both ends, Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster. Very, very close stuff. I thought Phil Ez had it. I thought he was the favorite to win, but wasn't to be.
But and that's, you know what, for Bruce, he and Bill Naves are the only two cars that are in the field that are still running the old root style blower.
I like
They don't have the modern screw blower, and they are at a disadvantage performance-wise. They get a 100-pound weight break per the rules to try and compensate for it, but they're behind. I mean, it just plain and simple. But they're still out there doing it, and it was Bruce's personal goal. He wants to be the quickest and fastest Roots supercharged car before he switches over to the new combination, and that's what he's working on. And luck just fell his way. He started going rounds, and you know what? I don't know what happened with Phil. I never got a chance to get over there and ask him, and find out why he got shut off in the final round. But you know, when it's your day, and you can't beat luck. And he won. He won the race. First national event win for a Roots blown top alcohol funny car since 2008.
That's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome.
And a beautiful car to boot. And that's all paint.
It was.
That car is all paint.
I love it. Old school, not worried about paint being weight. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's I don't know if you heard on the stream. So that is an old Follower Dream Team car. That was
really?
It was an old Permatex Monte Carlo body that they ran for 3 races between the Impala and their new Camaro body being ready. It was driven by Todd Venny, and he bought it last year, stripped it down, basically cleaned it all up, put all the paint and everything on it. Yeah. And the old body that he had, even though they look similar and identical to each other, this particular body, it saved 80 pounds.
Interesting.
Just the body work alone.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Repaired, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Carbon fiber spill plates instead of aluminum. So just some of the behind the scenes work and effort that goes into these teams put in that maybe doesn't always get put out there, and people don't realize what goes in, but there is a lot of effort involved, and it is a big team effort.
Yeah, it really is a big team effort. And, we saw some really good top fuel racing this past weekend. Everybody from top to bottom. I want to shout out Kyle Stattenstein with that 3:16.4 run. He was stout, and he was not joking around. Like, it was awesome to see them come out and really just, anybody else, Chuck, if he had to race Chuck, if he had to race Lex, Lee Calloway, he wins. Spencer, he wins. He had Jasmine.
Did you notice, though, if you look on the left side, Jasmine actually dropped a cylinder, and that's why her speed was down, and he almost caught her. He almost got there. Almost.
It was fun to watch. And for a second, I thought that she lost. I had to wait for the incrementals to show that she won, because I was like, did she actually get there first? Because he was right there.
Speaking of, what'd y'all think? Incremental times on the Speed Sport stream and the IHRA TV stream on YouTube. With a new innovation that we're working with, we're getting the telemetry to be able to do that. We're trying to bring the best show possible, and that was something we were able to finally bring out, was the incrementals, and easy to read, easy to understand. You guys like them on the bottom? You don't like them? What do you think?
I thought they were crispy. The production was really, everything that they did was very noticeable, and I thought it was really good touch for the broadcast. Really good touch.
Good.
I'm with you on that. I'm very interested to see who enters. I guarantee you, I will put money on it. You will have NHRA teams that will show up for this Triple Crown.
I will put money on the over-under of 20 nitro cars in each class.
Yeah.
Being over.
Yes. Oh, I think this is going to be one hellacious weekend. And for three races,
cars coming out of the woodwork for this race.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to have a plethora of cars that come out, and I'm excited about that. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, agreed. I agree with you. Those incrementals are very polished. Very polished.
And we had the discussion. We even had the discussion in the booth when they popped up. How do we like doing them? Do you like the blue for the ones that are good, the winning ones, basically, as the run goes down, and then the green background just for the last one for who wins the race. Because
Yeah.
I know on some of the other streams and telemetry they light up all green, whichever one's there, but because you're technically winning that segment, we wanted just to reserve the green for the overall winner.
Right. Yeah. And I thought that was fine. That was
Okay.
great. Yeah. I love it
We
too.
like that.
Yeah. It was, I was very impressed by everything that went down. I thought Jasmine was going to light it up in the final. I really did. I thought Gary had a shot. That the car was running excellent. They ran a 308 there, but I really thought they were trying to go for a 3 flat or another or 299. I felt like they were trying to rotate the earth.
Yep, I think that the thing was hopped up, and it's a shame that it didn't stick. And the other thing to consider too, talked to a couple drivers, and the way that they prep the track is different than what the inside does as far as track prep. This is more of a lot of the pro stock teams. If you pay attention in first round qualifying, especially in the cars that had a single, when you hear them launch, you can hear them lug down so bad, and then they go. They can't tune it enough to turn the tire enough because the track is it keeps getting better and better and better, and they're really working on trying to get that clutch set up just right, that 4-link set up just right, and the amount of slippage just right to get them into first 60 foot. It's amazing to hear, how the different crew chiefs tune and what they complain about and what they're struggling with and what they deal with. But a lot of this track prep is kind of similar to, like PDR8 style track prep stuff that you'd see at like US 131 when they go to Martin, Michigan. Laser smooth track and just sticky as can be. And it does throw some of the teams for a curveball because it's maybe not necessarily what they are typically used to racing or testing on.
Right. Yeah.
Did you mention that?
I did notice that.
That is something that they're having to deal with and adjust. And don't get me wrong, these crew chiefs are brilliant. They'll figure it out in no time.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised when we get to Virginia. You're going to see a 299 in top fuel. You're going to see a 290 something.
I need to see that 390
plus miles an hour. I don't know who it's going to be the first to do it, but somebody's going to do it there. I'd bet on that.
I like to see that 300 to the eighth.
Well, we're still 10 miles an hour away from that happening, but
yeah,
I mean, it could.
Yeah, I think it's very much possible. But I think we'll have more cars coming out as the season goes on. You didn't have Krista Baldwin out there.
Right.
There are a few more cars that I believe that will show up, and it was great racing. You really don't notice that it's 8th mile. You notice that they're really trying to get after it early. Being that it is 8th mile, it really shows up. So,
I think a lot of the camera placement helps with that too, because that's always the struggle when you watch NHRA and you watch the Nitro cars. Mm-hmm. They still put the camera at the 1320 finish line, so you don't always get when they're passing you. They're already past the finish line with the chutes out, coasting. They're not. Yep. At least here, when they're passing you, that's the finish line.
Yeah,
so you're getting a true finish line cam.
Yeah. Funny car was great. I really thought Terry Haddock was going to get the win and just couldn't get his car together to get it to the starting line. And that was unfortunate because I really think he had the better car this past weekend.
They ended up hurting the motor. I believe it had some spun mains, and they had a spare motor in the trailer to put in it, but it wasn't fully put together and fully assembled to the point that they had the time to swap it out. And you got to remember, Terry's just coming off of having to drag the backup car after the incident in Gainesville that he had with Buddy Hull. They're still putting back together and getting stuff put back from that and get their inventory built back up. So I felt bad for him that he couldn't go up there and make it a show. But it was a huge break for Dale Creasy because when he went to do the burnout, throttle disconnected. He had no throttle. And that's why his crew chief, brother Steve, ran up there, and he's like, they were all puzzled. They're like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, Steve's up at the starting line telling the crew, come up here, lift his body. Let's try and get this reconnected. Let's try and do what we can. But, when we've seen it plenty of times in NHRA, Clay Milliken at Brainerd comes to mind. They come up there, they do the burnout, or it just blips for a second, and they're like, uh-oh, we think he doesn't have a throttle. And you see them, like, they're rushing, they're trying to put linkages back together to try to connect stuff. And if somebody else was in the other lane, when that light went green, Dale was going to lose. All he could do was idle go down the track.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of, like we talked about Bruce in Alcohol Funny Car. When it's your day, because they definitely had luck on their side. Although he did say, I talked to him in Winter Circle, and he's like, I was more bummed about that because we hated that Terry couldn't be there, but we wanted to put down a number so that the people that were there and that were watching knew we were going to win that race. We had a 320 in that car, and we're going to do that. So
yeah, that explains why he wasn't able to do that. But it was great. I expect to have more. We didn't have the orange car. Mac Attack didn't have him out there.
Yeah, Mike McIntyre was there. There was a lot of cars that were not there, and we still had 10 show. I mean, we had full fields in
that's good.
Alcohol classes, nitro classes, Mountain Motor Pro Stock, obviously, just factory pro stock, and the pro mod classes. We were a little short. One extra Harley. We had a DNQ in the nitro Harley category, so it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah. Blake
to
asked
answer your question, that I don't have an answer for that. I'm going to guess probably not. About the only live stream heads up race that you're going to see from Milan Dragway is going to be the first weekend in June when we run the Pro Mod Mania there. It's coinciding with their local heads up races that particular weekend. So those cars will be running on the big stage with the Pro Mods on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, there's the answer to your question. So I'll leave. We'll start to wind down the show with this. What was your favorite moment of the whole entire weekend? Whether it comes down to history or just storyline in general.
I think for me it was seeing Dale win the funny car race, especially after that huge monumental matchup that he had with Del Worsham in the semis. Because Dell was class of the field. Dell was going out there running the car. Tommy and I were in his pits on Thursday afternoon talking with him. And that's when he had mentioned that Bobby Bodie wasn't going to be able to come out there. They had an issue with one of the trucks, or they didn't have a driver available to bring it out. So he wasn't able to make the race. But he was talking about how last fall, a lot of those guys skipped the nighttime run. And he's like, I didn't. I went out there. I wanted to learn the track because when they came to the finals on Saturday and it was under the lights, he's like, I got this set up. He's like, I know what I'm going to do, which is a shame because Bodie had run that 317 earlier and then it went out there and smoked the tires and Dell ended up winning the race. So he knew, and that car, Dell's car is completely new for the IHRA this year. He's got 3 funny cars. He's like, this is my IHRA car. Got a new wrap on the body. It's not just good anymore. So he's got that going on. And he was the classic qualifying, and he had the setup, and Creasy stepped up and did what he had to do.
Yeah,
got back to the final, and he just luck was on his side. But to know what that man's gone through, most people don't remember years ago when IHRA ran their full championship series. I mean, he was back-to-back champion and on the way to 3 in a row, and matter of fact, I believe 3 wins in a row. And at the race in Canada, went through the finish line. The reverser broke, or the transmission housing broke. And the reverser, it basically spun into case, and it was spinning at drive shaft RPM and basically just beat his legs to a pulp. And there was probably a time he was like, I don't know if I'm going to walk again. And with as much damage as was done to him, recovered, got back in the car. By that time, IHRA had already dissolved on their professional side of things. Terry Haddock ended up winning that last championship, which is why he got to run number 1 on the car last year. And ran NHRA, improved his game, got a 3-second run, got into the mid-3s, got into the 390s, and then finally the low 390s, and then had that terrible accident at Dallas. I'm sure you remember that with Dave Richards coming across the center line. Just a lot of stuff, and he said it rattled my confidence, stuff like that. You got to mentally get over it. And when they came out there and went rounds, and Terry went rounds on the other side, I'm like, man, this is like 2000. It's like somebody just paused time and we're picking up 2008 because we got Creasy and Haddock in the final.
Yeah.
And it's like their rivalry is being renewed here. And here we go again. And we're starting out the season. It's going to be them two for the championship with, the other past champion Worsham in the mix. And I was excited for it to be just a throwdown run and Terry out there with his big old orange header flame.
Yes.
Just side by side to the finish because it was going to be a nighttime run. So you get to see him out there.
Yeah.
And was sad, was glad that they ran the Top Fuel final first because they were trying to give Terry a little more time. Gary wins, blows the thing up. They got oil in the top end, gives Terry a little bit more time. And it just unfortunately became evident they weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
And, to see Dale win, to see his mom in victory lane. She was holding a trophy, that big, heavy trophy. I got a picture with her. His mom is 82 years old, still out there. And my dad met Dale Sr. back when his mom was pregnant with Dale Jr. back in 1958 when they met at a gas station. And my dad actually used to go around with Dale Sr. and help him crew when they ran the cavalcade of Coca-Cola cavalcade funny cars at US 30 and that match race group.
Yeah.
My dad would be there, help, pitch in, work on the car, take the starter off of it, drive the tow vehicle down the track, and, all that stuff. So for me, there was a lot of personal history in addition to stuff that Creasy himself went through and Haddock being out there. So for me, that was the moment, being down there in victory lane, getting to see Ruth, giving Peanuts a high five and seeing the trophy and how excited everybody is. And he's like, this is a payday that we've been waiting for a long time. And it's really going to help them to put that 50 grand in their pocket moving forward. He's like, we got a new Hellcat Charger body. We just haven't had the money to mount it and put it all together, but they got new parts and pieces. They just don't have the funding to be able to do it. And I think that that's going to help him come out strong the rest of this season. And and that's that for me, that was my moment of the race because I know what it means to them and the others.
Yeah, that was special. Really, the whole weekend, great for drag racing, and I'm looking forward to week 2 of the IHRA coming up. And hey, Blake, I always meet up with a lot of people, so yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. Not a problem at all. So, I'm looking forward to this season of drag racing. It's going to be great. I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Even those who are new, appreciate your comments and participation. And we'll be back at you next week. You might get 2 shows next week, too. We'll see. All right? Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Crowd breathing like smoke, NFL grit in my voice when the pressure gets woke. Engine scream through the night. That F1 razor lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace get wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, call the game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show. This is where the truth runs, the Not Bland Show. Fast lanes, fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch a moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Bland Show. Fast lanes, fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch a moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Bland Show.